who went to the MCG against the Fremantle side that Justin Longmuir, by his own admission, said that he didn't think enough of his players handled the occasion. It was 90,000 plus. I like the message. I love the messaging from Craig McCraig. He's got it right almost every time, and he's not shying away from what this Collingwood side is capable of.
We're here to win it. We are. Like, one more game and you're in a grand final. We're here to win this thing, and we're going to work our butts off to get better every day to give ourselves every chance. We'll set ourselves up, and we know what's coming up in Sydney, but we'll give it our best shot.
It's great, quiet confidence coming from your coach. I reckon his messaging's been spot on. Get up off the ground last week. And that's carried through. There was just something that struck me. You were at the ground, Jace. Yep. We were sitting at home watching. The way they walked out and the way they walked off. This Collingwood side are jam-packed full of confidence. Nick Dacos is at the heart of it. Tell me if you can tell the difference between them walking on the field and 2 hours or 2.5 hours of them talking off. Have a look at this. He's leading the charge. He looks like a kid playing for the Greythorn, whatever they were, when he was an under-10. He's getting kisses. Jordan Goey's looking at him thinking, what are you... This is then 2.5 hours later. Look at him. He's still going. He wouldn't blow a candle out. He's got a hair out of place. He's just ripped the semi-final to shreds, and a lot of them are walking off going, oh, well, where was that?
They know what they're doing. They're riding this wave of emotion that built up throughout the course of the year, and it's fantastic. And you get that enthusiasm from the younger players. Did you see Scotty Pendlebury next to him? Yeah. He's just taking the tape off the hands. What are you blokes carrying on? I mean, but you've got to absorb that enthusiasm because that's what the youth in the team give you.
I looked at it, Nick, and I thought, they are so fit and they play like it. They play high energy, upbeat. If we ain't got the footy, we're going to get it off you, and when we have got it, we're going. And yet 2.5 hours later, they walk off like... They are in absolute ripping neck.
So I get the walking off stuff. I absolutely get it. So the walking up the race with the laughing and the smiling and the Ric Flair wolves, like it's... I get all of that. But it's the fun, that's the conundrum of fun, because we sat here during the year and we criticised, but we questioned sides that were having, that fun, laid-back approach.
No, listen,
but hang on a minute.
But weren't delivering.
Didn't Richmond win premierships by telling jokes in the pre-game addresses and things like that?
Guess what? It worked for them.
Absolutely. And
it's working for Collingwood. So I know there's going to be people out there saying, well, it's double standards, because we heard you with Dyson Heppel earlier in the year saying, well, like the laughing and joking But do what you want if you're going to deliver that sort of unconditional effort like Collingwood have.
And so they play like that. The conundrum of fun. I love that. That's a beautiful turn of phrase. So, but they play like it. They play like they're enjoying each other's company. And so Jordan Goey, who has had enough issues for most people to wonder whether or not they better get back on to a playing field and be the extroverted ball winner. Well, he's the number one rated player in both finals, first player to do it since Dustin Martin. That's the company he's in right now, Jason.
It's career best football. And look, we've seen him do all these sorts of things before, but not in finals. Not when you're leading your team into a preliminary final with a couple of just unbelievable performances. I mean, for whatever reason, he's got himself in the right headspace now where he's fit, he's confident. They're giving him more time on ball, which is paying off, and he just looks like he's unstoppable at the moment.
He does. They jumped out of the blocks. I mean, he had a great 2018 finals.
He did. He's a really good finals player.
Yeah, he knows what that's all about. But this is really important too, given they got jumped a bit by Sydney when they went up to the SCG not so long ago. So their first quarters, we talked about the way they walked out. Well, it told them in good stead because on the back of this.
Yeah, you reckon they're not building up. Their energy is ready to go from the very start of game. So, yeah, they have, and they've done it in big games against big opposition when they've needed to. Which, I guess when you look at the way they've been able to run out games as well, speaks to the level of fitness that we alluded to before. Notice Braden Maynard as well at the start of games, just the way he doesn't spend a lot of time in at centre bounces, but he starts every game in at the first centre bounce, and he's having an impact. Well, he's just bringing an energy and a physicality and an aggression.
I think Nick Riewoldt, Bucks, he was in, whether this is the one or not, laid a massive tackle, the first tackle of the game right here, it is. Yep. He did it again the very next time, and then he missed by a fraction in this game against Fremantle. So it's something that they obviously love doing, and then he goes defensive again and does what he's been doing so very well as an All-Australian. But
that's just putting your best competitor in the middle of the ground when the heat is on. He's their best competitor, bar no one. He will put everything on the line every single time. So I'm rapt to have him in the middle every time the game starts.
Jack Crisp is I mean, you talk about the goey and the impact he had. He sums up every time this show this year has showed Collingwood's dare and run and willingness to take the game on. He's at the forefront of it, Jack Crisp. Now, I'm not completely certain he knows what he's doing most of the time when he's taken off.
That's the way they've played a little bit.
Hey, it works. And his fitness and ability to go from start to finish and finish. He kicked 2 goals on Friday. He's as good a value for footballer as there is in the comp right now. Yeah. And they've got a couple, by the way, within this team, which speaks to where they're at.
Yeah, well, I think these senior players for Collingwood, because when young guys come in, now sometimes they're special like a Dacos and you know, they're just going to find their way. But when you've got the players like Johnson and McCreery and these sort of young guys, the senior players have to show them what it looks like. And so Crisp has done that, Pendlebury's done it, Maynard's done it, Howe, Darcy Moore, all of those guys. They're setting the standard and the young guys have risen to the level.
So that's when they got the footy. What about when Freo had the footy on Saturday night? You were there. You had the beautiful seat on the 4th floor. You were able to look right down the ground. You would have had a great look at what they weren't able to do.
Look, Collingwood set up really well behind the ball, I get that. But when you've got opportunities to use the corridor, you've got to use it. Now, they had opportunities here where they're actually in the corridor, and look where they end up. They take the bailout kick, and all it does is close off the ground. You can see Maynard's the kick he's got to hit there. Maynard's got an open 50. Monday, sorry. Yep. And they did it that many times. I mean, right here, you're in the middle of the ground, ready to attack. You're slightly forward of centre, but there's no run from behind and there's no one hitting up the footy. Collingwood will concede this kick all day because look what happens. When he goes there, then you close it up and then you're constricted to half the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, they just couldn't pull the trigger even when they were trying to win the game late. They weren't taking the risk. They didn't have the dare. Here you get that mark in the centre square, Rui. And look where you end up going.
And Justin Longmuir will be disappointed with that because they fixed this part of the game up late in the season. There was a period there, I mean, we know they jumped out of the blocks Fremantle, but there for about 2 months, they defended themselves with the ball, with their ball movement, exactly like we saw on the weekend. Credit Collingwood, because we know they set up so well behind the footy. You look up, you see Jeremy Howe, you see Darcy Moore, and you're probably a little bit reluctant to kick it. But they didn't take the game on enough.
So and that's what lies in front of them now. And Justin Longmuir has been a fantastic success. It's a tick for Fremantle. You win your first final. You go there, you get the great big test over at the MCG. So this is conservative, a little conservative. It's conservative by nature, which has held him in good stead. But I mean, the way he's coached defence early, and now he's got to coach a more expansive ball movement game and be prepared to take it on. And whether they're spooked or whether they're too wedded to what they've been able to have been doing for most of the year, but the challenge for them comes over the summer months to say, right, now let's expand on what we've built, and it seems to be a really rock solid base.
Yeah, particularly when you've got the speed that they possess in the front half, guys like Switkowski and Frederick and Walters and all of these sort of guys. So it's conducive to a bit more high octane.
So let's go to the